Are you in a business where sometimes it feels like the juice is just not worth the squeeze? Maybe you're working a lot of hours and you're putting a lot of effort in, a lot of emphasis on work and work ethic and Puritan ethic, and you don't have enough at the end of the month. It feels like it's just not worth it all. In this podcast, I want to share with you a little bit more of the concept of leverage and why we don't use it. Stay tuned. Everybody, Bill Caskey back at the Bill Caskey Podcast. You can join me every Thursday on LinkedIn. If you are not connected with me, make sure you connect with me there. We go live every Thursday at 8:30. And the point of that is I just share some of the things that I'm working on throughout the week. I've got a lot of clients. I do a lot of coaching. And sometimes it's useful to hear how I have coached someone because you may have some of the same issues. But today I want to talk about something that's kind of close to my heart because of the work that we've been doing here. We just launched a program called the $1 Million Seller. And the whole idea of the $1 Million Seller is you can't get to exponentially higher levels of income just by using skill set. At some point, you run out of time. It's almost not scalable. So what you have to do is use leverage. And you've heard us talk about that. We talked about that a couple episodes. And I'm convinced as I start to work with people, and we've got a bunch of people in this program, and I would encourage you to consider it. You can go to billcaskey.com/$1 Million Seller to find out more. But the whole idea of it is that we want to use leverage to grow our business. But there are some things in the way. And I've come up with 3 here, and I want you to check these things out with yourself. And these are beneath the surface, but I think once you hear them, you'll recognize them, or you won't. And if you don't recognize them, then it's probably not happening to you. Number one, I think when it comes to using leverage to build our business, one of our biggest challenges is our own ego. That we have become so set in how we do things that a guy like me or anybody comes along and says, hey, here's a way to leverage your talent. And you look at that and you turn your nose up and you say, I want no part of that. But it has nothing to do with effectiveness or your ability to use this tip or strategy to grow. It has to do with our ego. Oh, I'm like that. We're all like that. Something comes along and it's not the way we've always done things, and so we turn our nose up to it. We say, well, that's not going to work in my business. I did a webinar the other day, and that's one of the first things I said is, look, at some point today, you're going to discover that you don't like what I'm saying because it goes against the narrative of how you've lived your life. We all have stories that we live our lives around. And if my tip counteracts and contradicts that story, it's a shot to the bow. And so you don't want any part of it. And that's what I consider ego. So a lot of times our ego stops us. So number one, it does. Number two, we don't want to be told what to do. We don't like to be told what to do, especially when we have to be told that what we're doing now is not optimal. It's not wrong. It's just not optimal. And when something's not optimal, you're not getting the juice from the squeeze, as I said earlier. Not sure. I will not keep using that metaphor. Sorry about that. But you're not getting all you can out of all you have. And if you are one of those that doesn't like to be coached or doesn't like to be told, and I think there's a lot of people like that. I have seen it a lot. I've seen people who pay me a lot of money who don't really want coaching. Hard to believe, but I would rather pay you money, basically what they're saying, Bill, and have you not tell me the truth than pay you money and have you tell me the truth because it's too much of a bruising on the ego. So you have to, if you're going to learn leverage, you have to get out of this notion that I know everything. I know everything about everything. You can't teach me anything, Bill or John or Mary or Sally or whomever's teaching you. Number 3, I don't know if this is 2 or 3. I guess this is 3. I think a lot of times our work ethic has become so strong that it prevails even when there's an easier, softer way. I think we have become such a grinding culture that we don't think things are going to pay off for us unless there's a lot of work to it. And that's why I think we don't take a look at some of these concepts that I've been teaching, because they seem too easy. And it's almost like how do I put it? Like if we make a lot of money and have a lot of success and work less, that somehow that's something worth shame or something worth staying away from, avoiding at any cost. So I think that's number 3 is our work ethic prevails, and we'd rather work hard and get a result than get that same result and not work as hard. And I know that sounds unfathomable. It's kind of like the fear of success. A lot of people I talk to say the fear of success doesn't exist. I see it every day. I see it in myself. I see it in all my clients. Not all my clients, but most of my clients. Client comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to get to $300,000 a year. I'm at $100,000 now." So, okay, let's put together a plan. Put together a plan. They're on their way there, and guess what they do? They quit. They quit. Why do they quit? Because I upset them? No. They quit because it scares the hell out of you. The fear of success is a real thing. You can argue with me. You can, trust me, I've seen it thousands of times. We know what we need to do, and what we need to do will work to get us to that next level, and we don't do that. And don't say blame it on time. Well, I didn't know how to do it. You have Google. You can figure out anything. You don't have the time. Come on. You're spending a lot of time in front of screens. You got the time. It's that we don't really want it, and we're a little bit afraid of what it could mean. So fear of success is kind of one of those things that was a subcomponent there too. We just have a work ethic, and we're afraid to let it go. The last one is that there is a lot of work up front to create this leverageability. So, for example, thinking about writing a booklet called 12 Bold Moves. In 12 Bold Moves, I've gone back and listened to a lot of our programming over the last couple of years. I'm in 3 or 4 groups. I'm just looking at all the things we've learned, all the things I've taught, all the things my clients have said, hey, this is a difference maker here, and documented those things. I came up with, 30, 40 things, and then I started ferret, vetting out the ones that were marginal and left me with 12 things. And these 12 bold moves, I can promise you, if you do these things, it's not available yet, so here I am pitching it, it's not available. But if you do these 12 moves over the course of a year, over the course of a week, month, whatever, you will absolutely grow your business and your income without working harder. That's the 12 bold moves. Now, that book takes a fair amount of work. I mean, I've got to write it. I've got to think through it. What's the position? How am I teaching? Is it a chapter book? Are there 12? Seems like a logical thing, but I've got to think about the cover and the design and the tonality of the book. I got to think about marketing. I got to think about web page. Got to think about how we're going to promote it. So all these things. Well, guess what's easy to do? It's easy to say, screw it. Not interested, too much work. I'd rather go out and make cold calls today. When the fact is that if you had the book, you could either give the book away as a business card, or you could sell it online and create a movement around the book. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work up front, and a lot of us, you, me, us, are not willing to do the work. And so we say we want the spoils. We say we want the $500,000 a year. We say we want the $1 million a year, but we really don't, because we're not willing to do the work. So those are 3 or 4 things that I think stop us from using leverage in our business to grow. And I know this sounded like it sounded like I was lecturing you. I didn't mean to do that. But I want to help you. And I want you to start to think about how to leverage the things you're already doing to grow your business. These 4 things will get in the way, I promise you. If we can just be mindful of them, acknowledge them, I think just by doing that, you shove them aside. If you want to know more about me, go to billcaskey.com. I'll be promoting this $1 Million Seller program from time to time, and it's an ongoing program. You can jump in at any time. Go to billcaskey.com/$1 Million Seller, and I will see you next week.